I was listening to your callers and obviously to you as well, and I wanted to actually disagree with you. Most of your callers seem to agree with everything you're saying, but I think you're completely and totally wrong.
Tell me why.
Okay. You call it Partygate. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Now, a party is something that people get invited to. Nobody was invited to this. During the lockdowns and the close downs and all the other terrible things we've suffered in the last two years, Parliament kept working. The government kept working. They had to. So everybody in 10 Downing Street went into work all during the times when I didn't go to work. I don't know if you went to work, but many people didn't and couldn't go to work. They had to. They were running the country. If during their working time they take, but it's not, it's 10 minutes, whatever, off to have a drink, to have a cup of tea, to wish the Prime Minister happy birthday. And it was never more than 10, 15 minutes, was it? That's not a party. It never has been a party.
Okay. Well, some of them...
They are there anyway. And the police who are guarding Downing Street can actually say, no, nobody came into the building for this. They were there. They were already there. It's not a party. And to call it Partygate, well, it's trying to make trouble where there is no trouble.
Well, you've obviously decided that the 10-minute comment from someone applies to every one of the events for which so far 50 fines have been handed out, and we're not even halfway through the list of events that are being investigated by the Met.
But what have they been fined for?
They've been fined for breaking the lockdown laws.
No. What I'm trying to say to you is that they haven't
been fined for having a cup of tea and a cake with a small handful of people in the room. They've been fined.
Yes, they have.
No, they haven't. They've been fined for a combination of the numbers of people and the nature of the event.
The number of people, yeah, absolutely.
So that is different to an office with 5 or 6 people in it saying, oh, look, I've brought a cake in because it's so-and-so's birthday. At the end of the day, let's have a piece of cake and a cup of tea and still keep our distance and all the rest of it. You know, that's not a party. That's not a party. It's full of lots of rooms in which some rooms only...
Lots of rooms and dozens and dozens and
but
dozens
so are people's houses, and you weren't allowed to... So are people's houses, Helen, and you weren't allowed to fill them with 30, 40, 50 people and throw events.
You are so wrong. You are so wrong.
How am I wrong? What I have just said to you, let me speak, Helen. What I have just said to you is what the rules were at the time. At the time, you couldn't invite people into your home for social events. At the time, you couldn't go to church and sing. At the time, you couldn't visit sick or dying relatives. At the time, you couldn't travel and visit your elderly parents. Helen, you are wrong.
No.
Yes.
Nobody was invited in for these occasions.
Yes, they were. There was an email, an email inviting people to come and bring their own bottle.
Because they were going into work anyway.
It doesn't matter.
No, they weren't invited in. They were there working.
Somebody went out and brought the wine back in a suitcase, Helen. Somebody went out and brought the wine back in a suitcase.
No, she won't let me talk now. I know what a party is, and that is not a party.
Is it a party if you...
I don't know why people think that for whatever reason during the lockdowns, government closed down as well. It didn't. None of it did. It kept on. People went into work. And if during work they take 20 minutes off, they're there together anyway. Nobody was invited in from outside to join the party.
Helen.
It wasn't a party.
Helen, you're now just...
In my opinion.
You're now just repeating the same thing each time, right? So we understand your position on this. Okay. But I'll tell you what else. I'll tell you what else didn't close. Hospitals didn't close by any means, and people worked there all day and all night in close proximity to one another, and forged great bonds together in those difficulties, just as you're describing the hard work that without a doubt went on in Downing Street. They didn't throw parties in the hospital. And so they haven't been fined by the Met. In Boris Johnson's Downing Street, they did throw parties, and that's why, so far, 50 people have been fined by the Met.
You do know the hospital canteens kept working, don't you, to feed people?
Of course they did.
Of course they did.
But what they didn't do is gather in a quad and throw a party. and invite people and play ABBA music and dance. Come on, Helen. Come on, Helen. This was a government that on a daily basis, almost a daily basis, was telling people what they could not do. And this was one of those things.
Well, not in my opinion.